Hello! So, for my assignment, for my thematic and archetypal analysis, I chose one of my favorite myths, the story of Psyche and Cupid. And for this myth, I decided to analyze a lot of my favorite archetypes that were present within them. So, the story follows Psyche, who is a hero, specifically a heroine, and she is a hero as a lover, as we see throughout her story. The myth starts out with Psyche being abandoned at a cliff by her father after seeking advice from the oracle of Apollo, which the oracle told him, divine intervention, to leave her on a cliff. Then, as Psyche waits on the cliff, Zephyr, the western wind, takes her to a tower. The tower itself is an archetype that is portrayed to show innocence and to portray virginity and being, at a secluded place, to be a place of higher being and separation from the other world, like Entangled. But in Psyche's case, it is the opposite. This is where she meets her husband, who is said to be a beast, or this serpentine creature, which is what the oracle said, but in reality, she goes to her husband, but she can't see him. She's kept in the darkness, which is, not only fear, but a lack of understanding and, not having, ability to see. But as she meets her unknown husband and she asks him, "Who are you?" he says he will not answer her. But his lips and his skin are soft and his voice is kind and gentle. So they end up talking more and more and falling in love, and they spend nights together, slowly, entering into this very amazing relationship, and soon Psyche finds herself with his child. And she is excited and overjoyed having a child after being rejected, not because she was ugly or a bad person, but because she was so beautiful that people thought that she was the newest incarnation of the goddess Venus, because people were too afraid to ask her, which is the whole reason that her father even decided to turn around and ask the oracle. It's because she was too beautiful, so she was outcasted. Another trope of her, the outcast. So, one night she takes an oil lamp, the flame, that's an archetype, and to seek knowledge, she goes in the dark, and she goes to see who her husband is, and little does she know, it is the god of love, who sends humans lusting after each other and getting in their feelings, Cupid. She, in a moment of shock, accidentally drops the lamp and spills it all over him, causing large burns all over him and to set fire to the tower. Not all over the place, burning it down, but burning it enough. As she sees his true form, she's in a state of shock, and he just tells her that he doesn't think that a mortal and a god could love one another. So he flies away, not only injured, but emotionally harmed. So she decides to set out on a quest after him. This is the beginning of her quest. And this is what sets her as the hero for a lover. She is setting out not only to, get him back and make sure he's okay, but also because she's loved him, and she's with his child, and she cares about him. So, she sets out, but is stopped by his mother, Venus, the goddess of beauty and love. I think it's beauty only, I'm not sure. Anyways, so Psyche is confronted by Venus, and instead of just telling where he is, she sends her on a quest. And this is when, things get interesting. She has to complete 3 tasks. So in these 3 tasks, the first one is, in a span of one night, she has to sort a pile of seeds by herself, like a big, giant, messy pile of seeds. That ain't easy. So as the night is almost ending and her hands are tired and she's sore and she has cuts all over her hands from the ground, a pile of ants, a colony of ants comes and helps her, and they sort it. So that is the beast, or the friendly beast. It shows the character that nature is on their side, that, it's on their side. And then there is... Then, afterwards, her next task is to get golden fleece from the golden ram, which has a habit of disemboweling and gutting out its victims. It's like, it's just a sheep, right? Nah, it's like a ram, and it like will like literally cut you out. And she's pregnant with a demigod baby. That's important later. So she's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a baby. But you know what she does? She goes out and she's about to go try to catch it herself. Then a river god is like, hey, I can show you how to do it. And he helps her collect it from off the branches and like the twigs as the river ram, like as the ram passes by. You know, so she makes a golden fleece out of it and brings it to Venus and is like, I've done this for you. What is my last task? She has to make a descent to the underworld. The underworld! And go ask Persephone for a drop of her beauty. So, she's on her way to the underworld, and she's about to, get there, but then she hears this voice in her head. Her psyche, you know? This voice is never explained in the story, and it's not portrayed as any sort of divine intervention, but she has this voice that not only told her this then, but before, it told her what to do, that when her husband, to go into which room. It was giving her guidance throughout, and whether this is, divine or herself, it never fully explains, but it's relevant to her change. So, then there is then we see that Psyche is an initiate, because this is when Venus is like, okay, do this, and you will be a goddess, basically. So she's been portrayed as the initiate as well. So she then is on her way, and this voice is telling her, bring a treat for Cerberus. I don't remember what specifically it was. Bring a treat for Cerberus, which is, bringing food, and though we haven't discussed archetype, the act of bringing food is one of peace. Very similar to the idea of the pub or the tavern or the haven or the inn. So, it's just a symbol of peace, which I noticed on my own. And then, it says, hey, bring 2 coins for the ferryman so he doesn't kill you. And so she crosses the river Styx, and she arrives and sees Persephone and begs her in the name of love for a drop of her beauty. And she complies. As she leaves, she's almost there. She doesn't know where to search, and she calls out, and she's going finally back to the Temple of Venus. And she's on the way there, but she gets curious, and she decides to open the box. And if we learned anything from Orpheus, we don't do that. She opens the box, and instead of beauty being there, it is a divine sleep. It basically, is gonna kill her. It's big no-no. And as she opens it and falls to the ground unconscious, making her a temporary damsel in distress, Cupid flies down to find his lovely wife, and he doesn't know what to do. He's scared. Oh my gosh, she got Sleeping Beautied. So he takes some ambrosia. This is also technically a divine intervention, but not really, since it's complicated. But that makes her into a god, or goddess. And not only that, but because of her brave and valiant acts, she is accepted by the other gods and goddesses, and elevates to a higher point in society. And not only that, after that happens, she ends up having her child, Pleasure. And she's a little baby with butterfly wings. And the 3 of them, ever since, have been messing with us mortals and causing us to fall in love, question our feelings, and, make us go every which way. And I find this one of my favorite stories, and very, very many archetypes are present with it, because it is a Greek mythology, and these archetypes originate from that time period, and, the archetypes, literature, and such. But yes, thank you for listening to me ramble.